Hi, and you're watching The Week Ahead with London Capital Group, taking a look to the major events, economic releases and company news expected next week. Now, first of all, at the very end of this week on Sunday, the Italian regional elections are taking place. But looking on from Monday the 1st of June onwards, there are a fair amount of data releases and events scheduled, which traders should be keeping a close eye on. Now, on Tuesday is the Reserve Bank of Australia's rate decision. Although rates are actually expected to be unchanged at 2%, this is because after the RBA cut the official interest rate to the historic low of 2% at the last meeting. Now, we've got PMI data coming out from various countries during different points of the week. That does include the UK and also the EU and China. China's putting out manufacturing PMI. Now, of course, we have the ECB and Bank of England monetary policy meetings on Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. That will be closely followed by press conferences from Mario Draghi. Now, next week we have another slew of data coming out of the US. We've got personal income and spending data. We also have ISM manufacturing, trade data, and of course the latest jobs report from the US. Just touching on the corporate news side of things, it's actually fairly quiet in terms of scheduled announcements from some of the big major companies next week. But some of the close ones to be watching will be online appliance retailer AOL's full year results, and there will actually be a trading update from electronics retailer Dixon's Carphone. Now, struggling supermarket chain WM Morrison Supermarket will actually be holding an AGM meeting on Thursday. Now, having taken a look at some of the scheduled data releases and events, let's take a look at some of the major talking points next week with LCG's market analyst Ipek Ozkardeskaya. So Ipek, except from the non-farm payrolls at the end of the week, what should the markets actually be looking out for? What are the key events, data releases, events that you're actually watching for? What should traders be looking out for as well?
So the most important events next week is going to be the ECB and BOE meetings, which are going to be non-events. We have got Eurozone inflation data, which we expect an improvement from 0 to 0.2% in May on yearly basis, and the unemployment rate should have deteriorated from 11.2 to 11.3%. So the situation in Eurozone is still very much mixed, and these data will not gain enough traction, I think, because some more important things will be happening in the Eurozone as the Italian regional elections and the Greece deadline, the June 5th, Greece will be paying or not the salaries, pensions and the IMF. So we are just looking for Greece to pay 300 million euros of debt to the IMF. So we are still not sure if that is going to happen or not. In the UK, we are looking at manufacturing and services PMI. Services PMI being more important because it stands for 80% of UK's economy. And finally, as you said, in the US, we have jobs data, which is going to be one of the major focuses of this week.
Yeah, okay. Well, you mentioned Italy's political kind of situation with the regional elections. Now, if we just focus on that for a moment, Italy has actually been, in terms of the political situation, it's stabilised over recent months. But surely this weekend is going to be a bit of a test for Prime Minister Renzi, will it not?
Well, it will actually. The Italian elections are important because right after the rise of popularity of anti-austerity parties in Spain, a similar picture in Italy will just raise the questions of the contagion risk, the contagion risk of anti-austerity within the Eurozone. So that's going to be important, and that might impact the Euro negatively from next week. This is one of the very important questions. So Renzi is expected to have over 7 regions in his pocket. So this is a very important test for Renzi. We have not heard about Italian politics for long. The situation has got stabilized, but overall, what this means for the Eurozone is we have to see if Italy is now complying with the other countries on the austerity plans or not. This is going to be important once again combined to Spain.
Sure. Well, obviously Greece has been taking the big focus. As you mentioned, we've got a 300 million euro payment due on June 5th. In terms of kind of, how should I put this? The recent bout of drama, let's just say, about Greece's debt, reforms, whether they can actually do it, defaulting, so on and so forth. how realistic is a Greek default or the so-called Grexit at this stage and also further down the line? I mean, what would this mean for the rest of the euro area?
Well, it is very realistic at this point. Christine Lagarde, the IMF President Christine Lagarde, warned that a Grexit is possible. It actually is possible because on June 5th, Greece will be paying is expected to pay 300 million euros to the IMF, but until June 19th, there is another 1.3 billion, excuse me, not trillion, we're not there yet, 1.3 billion euros to be paid. So it's just going to be a partial resolution on June 5th. So the issues with the Greece will continue until a real sustainable deal is reached with the European countries. And we are not there yet. We have some mixed messages from Greek officials saying that a deal has been reached or might be reached by Sunday, whereas the other officials, Merkel or any other countries' officials, are not giving any positive signals and say we still have, we are still very far away from a deal to get sealed. So this uncertainties will be on headlines next week, especially with the June 5th deadline coming. So this might negatively impact the euro complex, and this is why we'll be just watching for lower levels in euro dollar, and it's even possible that we retest the year lows of 105, 104.80s.
Okay, well, finishing up with non-farm payrolls and on Friday, today we saw the US first quarter GDP move from an initial reading of 0.2 to, what was it, minus 0.7%. That's not good news. Next week again, we've got another slew of US data coming out towards the end of the week. And of course, we've got the latest unemployment figures as well. What kind of picture are we hoping to build up by the end of the week in terms of the US economy, and what are the current expectations for the NFPs on Friday?
So we had some disappointing growth numbers from the US. This has not been a surprise. Some people put it on the back of the mediocre weather conditions or lower oil prices impact on the US economy. But at the end of the day, the situation, the picture in the US is nothing optimistic. So from next week, I mean, nothing will really change in this picture because we do not have quarterly figures or coming in. The NFPs will be very important. The unemployment rate is expected to be stabilized at 5.5%. However, the NFPs are going to be the center of the picture. The market expectations is 224,000 new non-farm jobs added into the U.S. economy. Last month, it has been 223,000 jobs. At this point, the most important level to watch is 200,000 level. If we go below 200,000, that means that over the last 15 months, it would be the second time the U.S. economy is adding less than 200,000 jobs, and that will ring the alarm bell. But below, anything above 200,000 is going to be fine, and there's going to be no fireworks on the market.
Okay, lovely. Right, thank you very much, Ipek. That's Ipek on the week ahead. Thank you very much.